Noting the time and the presence of a quorum, I'll call the Boxborough Fire Station Building Committee to order. I'm going to do a roll call vote because we have one person online and not all of us are here. So, Alan?
Present.
Maria?
Present.
Sarah?
Present.
Mac?
Present.
Larry?
Present.
And Mary present.
Hello, the voice
Okay.
of God.
Good sound today. Good. I like it. I like it.
It was pretty loud, Larry.
All right. And so I am going to open it up for public input. If anyone in the room wants to share public input, please step up to the mic. If you're online, please raise your virtual hand. And we ask that you give public input either now or at the end of the meeting, one or the other.
We have M. Barb, I'm assuming that's Mark Barbadero.
Okay. Yep.
Online.
So if you'd unmute him.
I did, I think, yep.
Okay. Mark? Or
Yes, thanks. Yeah, M. Barb, that's me.
okay.
So I looked in the packet and I see a report from a resident who has expertise in water. I think that's great. I think you should probably formulate some questions for him. Like, I think that total gallons that the trucks hold in one complete fill-up is around 6,300 gallons. That's what the fleet we have now. If we get 20 gallons per day out of a well, gallons per minute, how long is it going to take to fill up the trucks? Or are we planning to fill the trucks up at 5:02 or make a deal with Littleton Water Department to use their hydrants to fill up after fires? Because they may not want you to do that. So I think managing expectations is good. The report looks like you could probably bank on 16 to 20 gallons per minute out of one well there, but then there's going to be drawdown. If you want to put multiple wells, it's going to draw down the rock aquifer, and that could be problematic. So make sure you ask this guy some good questions because he's going to have a lot of answers.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We will, and that will definitely be part of the design phase if we get that over at the ballot vote. So thanks. Anyone else online?
There's no one else online.
Okay, and no one in the room at the mic, so I'm going to move us to discussion on Phase 2 designer selection process. So did you give Steve host capability?
I did, yep.
Okay, so because I think Steve's going to share some slides with us.
So, yep, he should be able to.
Well, maybe we should.
Mayor, it looks like you might have jumped ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, I did. Wow, I jumped way ahead.
Mary would
Sorry.
like this meeting to be done.
I have to say, I have trouble with the time change. Monday night had me wound up, and then last night I went to bed and I was reading this book, and I had 150 pages, so normally I read 20, 30, I fall asleep. No, I was up till 2:30, I finished the book.
Oh my goodness.
I'm a wee bit tired today. So a review of special town meeting. So it went well. And I think that, hopefully it bodes well for Tuesday, but we'll have the election on Tuesday. We'll know Tuesday night the status of that, and then we'll move forward from that. I don't know if there's any takeaways for when we have to go a year or so from now that we want to remember, but
No, I think it was just constant making sure it was in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Special town meeting, and then I honestly just think the education we've done over a period of time.
Yeah.
So that at town meeting, there are very few people who needed to understand, like we need a new fire station and start at the beginning. So I think we're just gonna need to make sure that we continue that slow drip of education through the year.
It was a
Right,
great turnout, too.
I was really impressed with turnout.
Yep.
Because, something in March and with basically a one-issue topic, then I was really pleased. We had 334. And do you know the numbers did anyone count how many didn't support?
I believe 7 on Article 1 and 4 on Article 2.
Wow.
We had 330 chairs out.
Ah,
But, human nature is you're never going to take some of those chairs in the middle, so I think we had probably 40 or 50 empty chairs scattered around. So
Yeah.
you saw some of the firefighters out of uniform and some other folks back there bringing out the folding chairs and.
yeah, yeah.
so, yeah.
yeah, so that's great. All right,
I was also going to say, I think that one of the, again, common themes that we heard from both, most of the people that spoke were also the cost.
yes,
So,
cost for this next phase.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for really all of it.
Yeah.
was a question. So
Yeah.
I know that we've talked about that extensively, but it's not going to go away, and we need to make sure that we continue talking about it in the meetings too.
Yeah,
And I think it's important as we start to design a building and value engineer, that we keep track of where we're starting on this project
Yeah.
and what we've, brought it down to, so people can understand. If we can get it down, we've done all of this. This is all the stuff that we've changed to be able to get down to this number, both financially and square footage wise. I think that's important. But I think all in all, people were very supportive. There was not a lot, I don't feel like there was a lot of question about, do we need a fire station? It was, can we make it cheaper?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That was the question.
I will say, Captain Gray, I was chatting with him in the back of the room afterwards, and he said a couple came in for a tour that afternoon to get informed for town meeting. And they're like, can we have a tour? He's like, absolutely. He gave them a tour. I said, what did they think? He said, they thought we need a new firehouse.
Bill from Council on Aging actually had a meeting earlier in the day, and it turns out he was encouraging people at the Council on Aging meeting to go down and get a tour prior, so that's where they had come from.
Oh, great.
So, big hats off to him for sending them our way and getting them down before the meeting. It was great.
Yeah. I also, I didn't mention this to you all. I think we talked about the information session. I can't remember the order of things. Have we met since then?
No, we have not.
Oh, okay. So I did talk with Al Murphy there, because he's the housing board, and he understood the decision we made. He would have liked us to have purchased that property, but he understood and he was supportive, and so I
That's good.
very much appreciated that.
And again, I think the information session was pretty good. And it's hard to tell whether or not it was because it was snowing
Yeah.
that people didn't come. I mean, I came straight to a FinCom meeting and we left. I mean, the roads are not great.
Yeah, no,
Right,
they
we
weren't
just-
great.
yeah.
The biggest numbers were from like 2:30 to 4:30.
Yeah.
And then it got slow, and I thought, oh, this slow, the 4:30 to 5:30 felt like the getting everybody home, maybe dinner time. I think we would have had more, but from 5:30 to 7:30, super slow. And then you guys broke down at 7:30.
We did, and I talked with Alec and Ian yesterday or the day before, and, he talked about doing one again for annual town meeting this May. And he said he was gonna plan on the same hours, 2 to 8, and I said, now, stop it by 7:30.
Yeah.
We should be wrapping up before the library staff is trying to close the library.
Yeah.
And the cleaner is in there cleaning, and there's nobody coming in that last hour. And it was even more this time because of the weather, but we want to be, and if it's slow by 7, start wrapping up then and close, be
Yeah.
out by 7:30.
Because, we might get people who come into the library, see something going on, come over. But if you're coming into the library at 7:30, you're getting what you came for and you're leaving, because you're getting too close to the end, so, yeah.
One other thing, observation from the pre-town meeting information sessions from both the October one and this one is that, Alec, in putting this together, I thought did a fabulous job. And I thought that the different type of stations there were very helpful. I thought there was some cross-pollination. There were people that came to see housing stuff or sustainability stuff or, conservation trust stuff that learned more about about the fire station and vice versa. And I thought it drew more people, and I think he's gonna plan for that to be
Yeah.
the goal in the future. And I support that. I think that's helpful.
Yeah, I know at least one committee member was concerned that it would take away from us, but I don't think it did. I think, I agree that some people came and talked to us who came in for a different reason.
Right.
I was afraid that people would walk in and say, okay, this is supposed to be about what's on the town meeting article, and then you don't want them to walk in and they get bombarded by these other committees. But since it happened, I feel like, okay, that didn't
Yeah.
happen.
Right.
So I think that, I honestly don't think you need to bring in extra people for the annual, because there's
Just enough stuff.
52 articles.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And for that one,
you
it'll
know.
just be, it won't touch this
Right,
much.
right, but for the next one we do.
It'll really just be some of the bigger, high-level stuff. We're not gonna try to hit 50 articles or even
Right,
20.
right.
It'll be just some.
But you might have a table for consent agenda. So, because then, not everybody knows what a consent agenda is. So it could be a little bit of education, people can see what's on it.
Well, in the 52 articles, it's like the fire department has 7.
Yeah.
And the police department has a couple. And,
Right.
town-wide. So you're not going to have 52 committees there, right? 'Cause
Exactly.
they're not,
Exactly.
CPC will have
Yeah.
a table or
Pol-
whatever.
Police and fire are each gonna have a table there.
Right.
And I think that between them, is probably gonna be rave again, because we wanna
Yep.
keep getting
Yep.
people to sign up for that. It's a great public service.
I got a push from it, and I
You
was
did?
like, yeah.
I've gotten several.
I was like, this is something I want to know. Why did I get this? I'm like, oh, it's the rave
Right,
system.
right.
It was,
Maybe I didn't fill it out right.
it wasn't
Did you get the call
emergency.
back? Or
Oh,
you have to press
it was
one on
the,
your
No.
Neither, it still
I
doesn't
think
work.
it was the Boxborough
Right.
Conservation Trust. Was it that one? I can't remember. 'Cause they're having a wonderful session on March 31st.
I think we got something from you, Mike. I got something that you.
You might have, but I probably didn't push
So
it.
this is through the rave system and not through the town hall stuff.
I
You're
think
saying,
I think
because
it was
I've gotten
rave,
nothing.
but
Have
I'm
you
not
done
gonna be able to
notifications?
find it quickly.
I'm only sending out emergency notifications.
Oh, so then maybe it wasn't rave, but
But some of the other groups that you can sign up for, maybe they have accessed and learned how to send out their messages. I'm not sure.
Oh, so maybe that's it.
So,
Maybe
like,
I didn't
so-
sign up. Like, I don't think I signed up for Conservation Trust.
yeah,
Either
I
conservation-
I
You'd only
did,
get the
and I
things
think
you
it was
signed
the
up for.
conservation one that I got.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So right. So I did go in and sign up for some stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think I signed up for
And I
it.
was
Yeah,
like,
so
ooh.
there's
Alright,
gonna be
so-
things like for library and culture, there's gonna be things for human services, there'll be things for administration and finance, there's things for public safety.
Yeah.
And people select what they want, and they're always gonna get the public
The
safety
emergency,
stuff.
right.
And the other stuff, is just if they select it.
Yeah.
It'd be great when you get critical mass, if you advertise 3 weeks in advance that on this day, we're gonna do a test and just push it out to everybody. And then, if you don't get, and you just put
Yeah.
it on signs and
So-
put it in the Foxborough News and
I
stuff.
tell you what was huge for me on this way, and I know it's kind of off topic because it's
Yeah.
not the station, but the majority of feedback that I got that night, sitting doing the rave thing, was that everyone was like, "Oh, I signed up for that years ago." The
Yeah.
reverse I want. But this is a different system than the system that was here years ago. We're no longer on code red.
Right.
That this is a new system that maybe you did sign up years ago, but you need to sign up on the new system. You need to go to the link.
I'd like to kind of know.
You
how it
need to
works.
go to the link
Yeah.
and sign up for the new system, because it's not the old system. Shameless
Did you
plug.
hear that?
Just put that out there.
Excellent, excellent, all right. Okay, public outreach,
So, I think Priya got a table for Pfeiffer's Day.
yes,
I don't know what else we're gonna plan to do. We don't really have a lot going on right now.
yeah,
Um,
and that's okay.
Yeah,
But the chief and I had an idea.
okay.
Somebody approached him and thanked him for the presentation on the apparatus. And we're wondering if, and we can talk with our friends from Littleton, if we could take the recording from our last meeting for just that, chop it down, pop it on YouTube.
It's already there.
Yeah, we did
Well,
that.
there you go.
Yeah, Sarah did that while you were doing the presentation.
Yeah.
Because after you were done, I'm like, we
They
need
had
to
it
put
done
that.
the next
I'm
day.
like, we need to put that
It's
on
already up there.
YouTube, and she's like, I already emailed Judy.
Thank you, thank you,
Yeah,
wow, wow.
so.
Okay, so then we need to push that out.
Yes, so that we should push out. We
Yeah.
should ask Rajon
Yeah.
to push it out to
Yeah.
our thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think so Pfeiffer's Day, Priya's got a table, and I don't know if it's just a fire station table or if it's a select board table, I don't know. But she said it was definitely for fire station stuff. And I think we just need to kind of put up some of wherever we're at then.
Yes,
You know,
we'll put stuff up.
We'll put stuff up.
I will say this breaks my heart, but I'm not gonna be in town
I'm
on
not
Pfeiffer's
either.
Day.
I know.
I
This will be
think
2 years in a row I'm missing Pfeiffer's Day.
out of the 24 years I've lived here, it'll be the first time.
Yeah, I'm really sad I'm missing it too. So,
Can I go back a second?
Yes.
I got a push from this system on, it said last night's town meeting, Boxborough voters approved, and then the second paragraph just talks about the next step is the 17th. So this is one of the things that
Okay. Yeah.
came from the town, from that system.
And to your personal email,
Yes,
this, because
yeah.
I got
Oh,
some.
no, well, to my town email.
Oh, had you put it in the town, had you signed up through your town email though?
I don't remember.
That might be,
I think-
our fire station building committee notifications.
Yeah, I think,
That might be that.
yeah, but,
I'm not sure.
and
No, it
if-
says,
if-
excuse me, it says, this complimentary message is being sent out to opt-in subscribers
Yeah.
who might be interested in its content.
But do you opt in on the town website as well?
I must have.
Yeah, so on the town website, you can opt in. So like
Yeah.
tonight, I got the
Oh.
planning board agenda
Yeah,
for Monday
yeah.
night, because
Right.
because I'm the liaison, so I opt
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
COA, planning board, and it's on my, my Boxborough account.
yeah.
So, but what I was gonna say is, if there's anything else you can think of that we should do, I mean, eventually, in the
Well-
fall will be Village Day, but like.
Yeah. So the other thing I was thinking about is, so I remembered with the school building project, when we got to construction, they did a weekly newsletter, like, that was like a 1 or 2 page thing that we then put up on Instagram and Facebook. So that made me think, in this stage, I wonder maybe monthly, we do some kind of, where are we now? And maybe, I'm thinking it's like a recorded thing for YouTube, and people can just look on their own, and show whatever the latest design is, or we talk about whatever we're doing in the latest step, or something like that, so.
And they took pictures with a drone, so we could see
Yeah.
overhead what was happening.
In the construction, that was cool, the pictures were very cool.
Yeah, that was really neat. So, not now, but like when that
Yes,
starts happening.
exactly, we need to have
And
material
by
for
they,
that.
who was they? They was the committee members?
No, they was Consigli, the
Oh.
construction company. So
Oh.
when we're hiring a construction company, a piece of it needs to be the outreach.
Great,
There,
okay.
some of their work needs to be the outreach so that we're sharing. On the design side, we have to wait till we have stuff. And, one of the things, I'm assuming Tuesday goes successfully, one of the things we have to be careful of is there's gonna be a time where you can take community input and a time where you really can't. And so we have to be clear that people understand, this is what we're doing, we're just informing you, versus, hey, we want to know what you think of this, that, or the other thing.
Right, and it's too early to advertise dates for the fall for
Yeah.
forums, because we don't know
We don't
where
know.
we're gonna be. And
Right.
those are gonna be, pretty quick turnarounds, I would imagine. We get to a point and we decide, okay, we're gonna do a forum on this, whatever
Right.
it is.
Right.
So,
But, it's fun stuff. To me, this design is fun, so I think people will want to look at it. They will want to look at the plans, and so there may be some engagement, yeah. Cool. All right. So that's going to take us to the designer selection process. Yes, Alan?
I've been asked to provide public inreach where the community wants to talk to us, and I told them I would be the spokesperson. So yesterday, there was a senior lunch, the chief was there, I was the only one from our committee there, but we received very positive comments, and I was asked to let the committee know how much the town appreciates all the work they've done, and they were happy to vote for it.
Okay.
Then last
Nice.
night was the annual meeting of Household Goods over in Acton, of which I participate. And there's also members of our community that volunteer there that were also there. And after the annual meeting was over, they approached me and wanted me to know how much they appreciate the work our committee has done. So very positive, and they wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that everybody knew that I had this information to share.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
It's nice to get positive feedback.
It is nice to get positive, and I have to say that a lot of people, like, congratulated me and said what a great job I did, but yes, I stood up there, but I stood up there representing the committee, and it was all of our hard work from, everything, the flyers at the transfer station to difficult decisions that we've all made. And so I was just the front face for a whole lot of hard work. So.
You did a good job as a front.
I think you set a standard, though, as to how those presentations need to
That
go.
presentation was 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It was
I
really
have
well
been
done.
through 5-minute presentations on town floor, and by 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, when are they gonna be done? And when you were done, I was
Exactly.
like, there's no way that took 15 minutes. So that's really
Yeah.
a talent,
Yeah.
because it's, we
Well,
always say
it's-
10 minutes,
it's
because if you go,
practice.
yeah,
People don't think about that for town meeting, but if you practice and be intentional, you can give more information.
Yeah, but it was the organization, it was your voice, it was all of it. It was
Yeah.
the presentation itself.
Yeah.
Practice is great, but not everybody can present in such a clear manner, and it was not boring. When you finished, I was really impressed that was actually 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because like I said, sometimes you get 5 minutes into the presentation, you're like, I need to leave, this is gonna kill me. So,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, designer selection process. So Mike, why don't you start with why we're here?
Sure. Back in August of 2022, the town went out with an RFQ for designer selection. At that time, there was one applicant. An interview committee. I'm not sure exactly who was on that. I imagine it was probably members of the Boxborough Building Committee, and maybe others. I'm not sure because I wasn't here at that time. But they interviewed the contact architecture and qualified them, and hired them on their qualifications, and then negotiated the first contract with them. And then, in accordance with the law, the town was able to do contract amendments up through what you saw, 13 or 14 amendments that have taken us through the last couple of years. That committee and this committee. There was a complaint made about that selection process. So it was forwarded to us from the Office of the Attorney General. I reviewed that with our counsel, and they looked at it and they said, the amendments that were done along the way weren't an issue, but there were a couple of inconsistencies in that RFQ from back in the summer of 2022, and they said, you know what, why don't you go out and do designer selection again? And I said, well, because it's a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of work. And they said, you know what, you could oppose this. We could, send a letter, rebut this, and then they look into it. But we don't know how long it would take for the OAG to look into this, get a response back, and you're spending time anyways. It would be more efficient to just put it out again, knowing even though it may be 8 or 10 weeks, you hold up. You don't know what the holdup going to be if they come back and say, well, we need you to go back out. So it may be some number of weeks and then that period of time. So we made the decision to go back out, do an RFQ, and go through the designer selection process. And I'm glad that we are, because 2 questions came up. 2 people stood up Monday night and asked about that. And so it's important to the community to see it go out. Now that initial contract that was negotiated after that initial RFQ in 2022 was a very small amount. There was only 1 contractor. Now we're into a big project. Now we're into the whole design phase. So it's, again, it was allowable by law, but I suspect we're gonna get more applicants this time, knowing that it's a multi-million-dollar project, not a tens of thousands of dollar project at that initial
Right,
phase.
right.
So Steve Kirby is with us. He has gone through and prepared an RFQ. He and I reviewed it yesterday afternoon. He sent me his final draft. Sometime after midnight last night, I reviewed it very early this morning and sent it to council. They are reviewing it, and we'll have it to us by next Wednesday, when Steve will be advertising that to designers, who will then send in their qualifications. And Steve can talk through, the establishment of a committee, and how that selection process goes. But I will say my recommendation to the select board is, because it is in the jurisdiction of the select board, to establish this committee who's gonna go through and rank these, the designers by qualifications, and then come back and then negotiate the next contract. It's gonna be my recommendation to the select board that they have already selected all of you to be on this committee. I think you are more than qualified, with very diverse backgrounds, to be that committee. I don't think we need another committee. I don't
Yeah,
think
and we're gonna work with them.
Right, right. And I think you were all put onto this committee by your diverse qualifications and your experience and all that. So sitting here, in my mind, is that committee that should be selecting the designer.
So that'll be on the next select board agenda?
That'll be on the 23rd.
Okay.
I don't know what they will decide, but that's gonna be my recommendation to them. And I think they are the board that put all of you on this committee. They selected you all based on your qualifications and what you bring to this committee. So I think they will agree that this is the right group to make that decision. And you'll of course get, get information and feedback from the chief, from myself, from our OPM, Steve Kirby. And I think that will also be of value to you as the 7 of you vote and decide. The process will go much like you did when you selected Vertex as your OPM. You'll individually rank. I believe you'll send your individual, comments all back through Steve Kirby, who will then put a matrix like he did for your color-coded chart. It'll go much the same way.
Yeah. And I'm assuming it'll get posted on 3/18 as long as this passes at the ballot on 3/17.
Correct.
Because if it doesn't pass the ballot, we probably wouldn't post right now.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. The one point well, go ahead, Steve.
I can clarify that when I start my
Okay.
spiel.
Okay, so just one last comment is, when you're talking to the select board, this is taking time. This is gonna take probably a couple months out of our schedule. And so I would highlight that I think it's efficient, time efficient for us to be doing it, because we have the meeting set up, we understand the process, we have the history. So, we want to do a full, open, fair process, but we want to do it efficiently.
Right. And there are two parts to it. There's selecting the designer based on qualification, and you're going to rank them. You're going to come down to, ultimately, hopefully 3, and you're going to rank them in order of who you want, and then start negotiating. So part 2 is the negotiating. Again, ultimately, that authority falls on the select board. I would recommend to them that they also delegate that authority to you as a committee to do that negotiating with the designer. And then if you have a successful negotiation, then you hire them.
Is it us, though, or is it you? In the past,
I
you've
will-
done the negotiating.
And that would be certainly something that,
But we gave input on that.
We did, right,
So
right.
Yeah.
you did the actual negotiating, but we gave the input.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
for
I would expect it would be the same.
Yeah.
And I think we want to rely on Steve's, experience for what's the best way
Yeah.
to do that. And he certainly has more experience and knowledge in that area than I do. But ultimately, I'll sign the contract, whatever is negotiated and agreed to. But that'll be the second thing that I recommend to the select board, is that not only that they have you be at the selection committee, but also the one that actually has the authority over negotiating and executing that contract with the designer, so that we don't wait multiple weeks going back each
Right.
time.
Right.
you know.
Can we execute
it doesn't need to be the select board executing the actual contract?
I
Or-
It's the
I can
town
execute,
You
I can,
cannot,
I
on
can
behalf of the
execute
town.
it, right,
Okay.
as long as they delegate authority
To us,
to you to work with
Great,
me to
okay.
execute it. I can execute it, but we just want to make sure that they're in agreement with that.
Yep, yep.
That, I don't want to speak for them, I want to have
Yeah.
them to have that discussion.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, Steve's gonna kind of talk us through the process.
Thank you, Mary. Good evening, everyone. I just want to check, are you seeing the presentation on your
Yes.
screen?
Yeah.
Okay. As Mike said, we are going to be going through the designer selection process for what we're calling phase 2 of the project, which is our design, our schematic design through bidding. Designer selection, it's conducted in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 7C, Sections 44 through 58, and the Town of Boxborough's designer selection procedures, which were adopted on the 23rd of February of this year. The one thing that is just as a reminder, and I think you all know, that a request for qualifications is qualifications-based only. It's not a request for a monetary fee or any kind of hourly rates. That happens once you've selected your top candidate and you go into that negotiations. I do believe that the original RFQ had requested a fee proposal, but as we know, no fee proposal was submitted, so it didn't really end up being an issue other than what Mike talked about before. And just to, before I forget, Mary, the process for advertising in the Central Register is you have to put your posting to the Central Register, your uploading of the information to Central Register the Thursday before the Wednesday that you want it to come out. So I did that today so that it would be in the Central Register for Wednesday, the 18th.
Okay.
So if for some reason that the ballot doesn't pass, all I would do was upload or post to Central Register again that we would cancel it. But
Okay.
right now, it's been confirmed that it will show up in the Central Register on the 18th.
Okay.
And the Central Register comes out every Wednesday. So going into that, the designer selection schedule. So today, like I said, I posted to Central Register so that it'll appear on the 18th. The RFQ draft I sent to Mike. Mike sent that to KP Law for their review. We hoping to get that by the 17th back from them, the morning of the 18th at the latest, because when the Central Register comes out, that's when the RFQ needs to be available to designers. Part of the RFQ will be to include the owner-architect agreement in the DSB form, which is simply the designer selection board form off of the MassGov website, which I already have. The other point on our RFQ, if we're starting a project from scratch, generally it's just a negotiated fee, and you really don't put a not to exceed. We have to meet our appropriation based on the town meeting from Monday. So I'm putting the RFQ out as a negotiated fee, but not to exceed $2 million. Only for phase 1, schematic design to bidding. The RFQ does mention a phase 3, which would be construction and administration and closeout, but it's all dependent on funding. And I've got that sprinkled throughout the RFQ in many places so that they fully aware that it's actually I should say phase 2, but it's a SD to bidding contract only.
And I just want to point out, the remaining funds are for the OPM. There's other funds covering minutes and some advertising and things like that, so.
Correct. So the 18th, the design RFQ will be advertised and available, and will also appear in Combis, the local news, and the town website. We've included on the 25th a designer briefing session to be held at the existing fire station at 2 p.m. It is non-mandatory, but it's always a good thing to have. We go to them when the OPM RFQs come out also. I'll be there. We can walk the existing station and then just give them sort of an overview of the project. We won't be able to, there's really nothing to see at this point. We won't be able to go on to 984 because we really won't own it at that point. The following day we'd be looking for pre-proposal RFIs so that there would be time to respond to them prior to the due date of the proposals, which I have as April 1st, which is 2 weeks after the RFQ is available. Looking for 1 original, 10 hard copies, and a thumb drive so that everyone has the opportunity to have a hard copy. I personally, I think it's easier to flip through than electronically, but that's just me. And between the first, or really probably the second, and the April 9th, we want the committee and town manager and the fire chief to review the proposals that we receive. And I've set this up for the 9th as a Thursday. We can schedule a committee meeting so that we can discuss and shortlist to 3 that we would want to move on to interviews. There's scoring that's in the RFQ, so everybody will get a copy. I usually put out a form so that it makes it easier for everybody, but we'll take those scores, we'll put them into a matrix and show by scoring who the top 3 designers are. It doesn't mean that we have to pick those. We'll discuss pros and cons. We'll get everybody's opinion on the designers that have submitted proposals. Once we pick the top 3, I've got, again, another 2-week period because it does take time to put an interview presentation together. On 4/23, we will conduct the interviews and then rank those 3 designers. And again, we'll have, and I'll get to it a little bit later on another slide, but there'll be a scoring based on interview and interview questions. If all goes well, the 24th, we'll notify the top selected designer and then request a fee proposal for the SD through bidding phase. It does take them a little bit of time to put that together, so sometime around the 11th of May, we should have the review and negotiated proposed fee submitted, and then if generally, you go back and forth a little bit. We'll finalize fee negotiations by the 22nd. Ideally, we'd have a fully executed and architect agreement by the 29th and conduct the designer kickoff meeting by June 1st. So, as far as the proposals coming in, like I said, we'll have a discussion with the committee on the scoring and the ranking results. We'll talk about the pros and cons with each of the committee evaluators. We'll shortlist the designers to 3 to interview. Vertex will send out the notifications to the designers that they've been selected and to put together their interview package. We'll interview, like I said, 2 weeks later, and we'll decide the time and the location. Generally speaking, very similar to I think what we did with the OPM, which you all went through. Usually do 45-minute interview, 25 presentation, 20 Q&A. That gives 15 minutes in between interviews for discussion and sort of get set for the next group. I will issue a some sample interview questions, and others can be added, consensus of the committee. And we can also decide who asks the questions, whether it's one person asks all the questions or we just sort of go around to all the members. That's something we can do. We don't have to discuss tonight. We can do that on the, hopefully on the 9th of April, when we shortlist. And then the designer interview, we will have a discussion and ranking based on the interviews, and we'll insert that to a matrix, because we do want to have documentation on our selections, because there are times when designers will request the rankings, just so that they see where they stood and get some feedback, and you may also get a public records request. Again, we'll discuss the pros and cons for each interviewee, select a top candidate, and notify for requests for fee proposals. And if fee negotiations fail to reach an agreement with the top candidate, we simply end those negotiations and go on to the second-ranked design firm. Any questions?
I will note, and this is, I believe, similar also to when we did the OPM, we will not broadcast the night of the interviews. That way, interview team 3 can't watch interview team 1 and hear all the questions and prep. And if it had to go over multiple nights, there would be no undue advantage.
Larry has his hand up.
Larry, yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Steve, thank you for the comprehensive outline. That's a good roadmap. I guess the general question is, can we compress the schedule?
Yeah.
I think that all the firms that we're going to be talking to all have an expertise in fire stations. So their presentation for the interview, they've done it before. It's not going to take them a lot of time. They're going to probably just have to determine who their team is and who they're going to bring to the interview, but they're not, it's going to, I don't think they need 2 weeks once they're informed to put together a presentation. So I think you can tighten that up a bit. I'm just concerned that we're really almost 3 months delayed, which is just a lot of money. And I know that there's a process and we can only do what we can do, but do you think that we could maybe wring a couple weeks out of that schedule? Because if we're not successful with the top ranked firm and we start negotiations with another, that's another several weeks. We could be into July before we actually start work. And if we make a change to a firm other than Context, which is, obviously Context is going to be a lead contender, folks are going to have to get up to speed, and that's going to take a little bit of time too. So, substantive work might not happen until the end of July. So, I think that we're going out again. I acknowledge we have to do it. So there is time involved.
Question, but I tried to compress it as much as I thought I could. The only area we may be able to pick up a week is potentially that 2-week period that I'm giving them to prepare an interview. We could very much get a lot of their presentation materials sort of packaged. I just trying to be realistic too. In negotiations never go as quick as you think they're going to go.
They never do.
Yeah. So we might be able to shave a week off for the notification from shortlist to interview.
Right. So maybe there's a week, then a combination of a week here and a week there, maybe 2 weeks.
I don't know about 2 weeks.
It depends on the negotiations.
Yeah, and I'm sometimes just getting a contract signed can take longer than you think. So yeah. I thought I was being somewhat optimistic in my mind, but I wouldn't, I don't think, yeah, the front end we can't. I mean, there's a, you know, it's a 2-week mandatory from the time we're advertised to when the proposals are due. We can't shorten that. And we're fitting in a briefing in between, on the essentially the second week.
Should we try to hold the 16th though for and try to have the interviews on the 16th instead of the 23rd?
I mean, we can try it. I mean, if we shortlist something and they want the job, they're not gonna balk at the fact that we give them 1 week to get prepared. So.
I was gonna say, you could advertise, like, if we have that held in our calendars, we can always tell them, like, well ahead of time too, before.
Well, I think the calendar is in the RFQ.
Oh, so it's already in there? Well, does it already say?
But it's not out yet.
It's not out yet.
It doesn't come out until next Wednesday, so I can make any kind of changes,
say, like,
we
if we,
decide.
yeah, if we can advertise what the interview date will be, then there's
Right.
zero reasons
They
should
can decide if they want to start prepping ahead of time or
Yep.
wait till they're notified and have a week.
Yep.
But
Now
I
that-
agree, Larry's right that, well, like, there's a half of it that's boilerplate, and then the other half is getting to know Boxborough, but they need to do that for the written,
Yeah.
right?
So that would mean that the committee would be meeting two Thursdays in a row.
Correct.
Well, potentially 3 Thursdays in a row, right? Because we're scheduled on the 9th and the 23rd, so we're sticking in.
Well, we could
Cancel one.
cancel the 23rd if we wanted.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's what I was saying, you just swap that out, so.
And I want to be clear that Larry kind of asked my question as well. As soon as I saw that schedule, I'm like, that's long. And I know you're doing your best, but that just seemed long. So anything we can do to shorten this up.
Yeah, and that may pull us back into May for having them on board. And you know, it could be that negotiations go much quicker. You know, with that, you know, the negotiation period and so forth, that's not gonna be in the RFQ. You know, only up to the interview.
and so, Mike, what we'd want you to be doing is prioritizing this in your calendar.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, don't go on vacation. Uh-oh.
Because there's an April break in there.
Can I ask a question? Steve, the RFQ, this is solely for the architect, they're not gonna include their sub-consultant list in it, or will they?
Oh, it'll be everything. It'll be
It's everybody.
Okay, all
I-
right,
I've listed every sub-consultant I want them to include.
okay,
Yeah, but you know, civil, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire
Yeah.
protection, audiovisual, just, it's all in there.
Yeah, and we have to review the consultant's scopes to make sure that it covers what the expectations are to do the job. Because a lot of
Right.
times, they can thin up their proposals, the consultants, and then later on you learn that we only own 2 meetings for this or 1 meeting for that, and
Yeah.
it becomes an additional service. So there's work that needs to be done to scope out all of the sub-consultants.
And that's
Yeah,
part of the
well-
negotiation side, correct?
When they send in their fee proposal, I'm going to ask them to send in their proposals that they got from their sub-consultants, which will force them to actually choose someone
yep,
who they've listed and get the numbers, because exactly what Larry said. I find sometimes the price is fine, you know, the fee structure is okay, but when you look at the scope, exactly what Larry said, you've got a civil engineer that says, once you go into construction, I only own 1 site meeting. That's not gonna work. So a lot of my comments back during negotiations is, what is the scope of the sub-consultants?
The other thing, Steve, is that, and I'm not sure if you ask it when they submit or you do it with the selected firm, but we need to include phase 3, because we can't start a negotiation for phase 3 when phase 2 is done, because now we really are committed to a team. And it would be good for them to submit and hold to a fee if phase 3 goes ahead?
Well, here's the thing, like, I've asked for just to get budget information. I've asked for a construction administration and closeout fee in the past, but and sometimes until you design it, if we don't know whether this is going to be a 14-month job or a 16-month job, that affects the construction administration fee. But it's
Yeah, but they can make assumptions in their proposal that can cover that.
They can, and they will. The last job I did, I asked them, I said, calculate it on 14 months. So, so we do have a number, but we can't, number one, we don't have the funds, so we can't issue them a contract
Right.
for the
Right.
amount.
But you don't want to be negotiating a fee for construction administration with the sole source 2 years from now, right? You'd like to know what the number is. And maybe it's only done with the firm that you're negotiating with.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Well, yeah, you're only negotiating with one, you're not.
That's what it actually has to be, right, yeah,
Yeah.
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 No, they're in line. If you don't come to an agreement with the first candidate, which generally doesn't happen, you go to the second.
I mean, realistically, there's only a handful of firms regionally that do this work. And I mean, and I bet there's 6 that we might consider, and they're not all Massachusetts-based.
No,
Because there are some in Connecticut and New York that are doing work in Massachusetts, but it's not a big group.
No, you probably have 10 that, you said regionally, because we're working with a firm out of Connecticut now on a couple projects. There's, not every architect does fire stations.
Right.
So, it depends on what their workload is, whether they have interest in it or not.
You're talking about Tecton out of Hartford?
We're working with Tecton, yeah.
Yeah.
We work with Tecton, KBA, obviously Context, Galante. There's a number out there. We'll issue the advertisement will be in the Central Register and Combine and so forth, but we'll reach out to the architects that we are working with to say, hey, just to let you know, there's an RFQ out for a fire station in Boxborough, just so they know.
That's what I was going to ask, because some people might have it. I don't know if you can do it for the Central Register, but there are certain databases that'll push announcements to you. But, if we want 3, at least 3, so in the past, Boxborough had 1. And the law, Mass General Law says something like you should rank at least your top 3 applicants.
Shall, not should.
You shall, but it does say applicants. And so if you don't have 3 applicants, you can't pick 3. But they don't say what happens if you have fewer than 3. So it just would be nice if we get at least 3. That you don't have to worry about it, because we are on a tight timeline. We don't want to go out for bid again, and with the way some people think, 1's not going to be enough. And so hopefully we are going to get 3. So I like the idea that we might, deliberately contact some of these that are known and say, hey, this is out, take a look.
Yeah, I mean, we just finished one up with Doran Whittier. That was the Norfolk project. Secotio also does fire stations. So there's a number of designers out there. again, depends on their workload, their interest in the project, the size of the project. But I don't think we'll get less than 3. I think we'll get more than 3.
Steve, have you worked with Castle Booze?
Yes, that's KBA.
Okay, that's KBA. Yeah, because they did the one in, most recently in North Acton, their small satellite station that was, had solar and geothermal, and it's a good-looking building.
Yeah. Maria?
No, so Mary, I know you say we want 3, but if we don't end up with 3 and we end up with 2,
Yeah.
we have to go forward with the 2,
Yes.
right?
I think we go forward with the 2.
And if we end up with 1, like we did last time, I think we have to look at the 1 and
I mean, that's going to be the debate. Do we, so here's what I actually think we should do is whatever extra we do, we need to document it. So it's going to go in the central register. It's going to go in combis. We'll document the local paper. We're doing the Action Unlimited. It'll be on the website. But if you're pushing it out through any emails, document that. Let's keep a record. When they call and ask for the application, who's ever taking those calls absolutely has to document it because it's a choice. So when I go out and when I write a grant and I read something, the first thing I look for is there an incumbent? And then the next thing I find out is what does the funder think of that incumbent? If they like that incumbent and it's a tight timeline, I may not bid on it, and it's a strategic choice that I make. And I think that could happen in this scenario, but I am hoping, because it's a lot more money, this one and the next phase, because hopefully we go to the next phase. So hopefully that'll stir enough interest that we'll get multiples.
Yeah, I also think we'll get, at least 3. I mean, when we put this project out for OPM, we had 7.
Yeah.
But there are less architects in the region that do this, as was pointed out. So the select board at their last meeting adopted a procedure which comes right from Mass General Law, and one of the things in it said, Section 8 says, shall shortlist 3. And so I reached back out to legal counsel and I said, what if we don't get 3 applicants? Because it's a small pool. We had 1 last time. And so they said, then it comes down to your local procedure. And I said, you drafted our local procedure. Look at it. And so they gave me some language that gives us a little bit of latitude. But they said, we would have to, if it's less than 3, we need to talk to the state about that and make them aware, document what we're doing.
Right.
And that's exactly why Mary is saying this. So I am going to be sending that amended language for Section 3 in that procedure to the Select Board to consider revoting that amendment in their next, in their very next meeting, which is March 23rd. So we're going to do that to at least we don't get in a jam that we got to rebid this and we get stuck with a 3 or 4 month delay or whatever. We have to be smart about this.
Right.
And follow the law.
Right, exactly. So we'll advertise it widely and hopefully we'll get a good response.
Yeah,
So
and the way the RFQ is set up is that the way they get the RFQ is by contacting Mike, but it's at the town admin email address. That way, it's one point of contact so that whoever the RFQ goes to, it can be tracked.
Great.
Okay, so Mike, you're the point of contact in town.
Yes, and the what Steve sent out to the Central Register will be sent into Combis. It has Steve's direct email and then my town admin email, and that way it will never get missed, because between, like, if I'm sick for a day, it's still gonna get answered by Rajon, so it will not miss. So yes, I'm the point of contact in town, but Rajon will be seeing it also.
Okay.
Good.
So we talked about it, but the question is, do we want to take initiative to contact any of these offices directly?
No, I will.
Yeah.
I will be contacting them, but I won't be sending them the RFQ. I want
Yeah.
them
No.
to request it, but yeah, I'll be reaching out to certainly the ones that I work with.
And Steve, did I forward you? Larry sent Mac and me
I
a
forwarded
list.
that.
Okay, you forwarded
I
it.
forwarded it to Steve, and Steve also had several other
Yeah.
firms on top of what
On top
Larry
of
sent.
that. So Larry had 8. I know you mentioned Doran Whittier, which isn't on Larry's, and there might be others. So yeah, if we do that, that'd be great.
Larry, just so you know, Dunham and Sweeney, that is.
Yeah, that's context, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think maybe Doran Whittier did our high
Yeah.
school.
They did the
They-
feasibility study.
They did the feasibility study
district.
for the district
Yeah,
for,
they do a lot of schoolwork.
Yeah,
So
but
they,
I-
they did the junior,
Steve,
they
was
did
that like
Damon.
an acquisition or just a name change and ownership change? When Donovan and Sweeney became Context?
I mean, I don't know, it's probably 8 years ago now, I don't know all the details, but essentially Jeff worked for Dunham and Sweeney, and then he bought the firm and changed the
Everyone on the
name.
meeting.
so is Donham and Sweeney not an active?
No,
It's now Context.
It was the predecessor to Context.
Okay.
yes.
Great, thank you. All right, any other questions? This is good. I think it really prepares us. We know that this is something you might put on your personal calendars, because there's going to be, remember, you're going to get a stack of, documents you have to go through.
So we're set for the 16th for the interviews.
I think we should plan right now for the 16th.
Okay.
And Mary,
So
I
you'll
did,
have a
I'll
week.
change the RFQ to go, to have it
Yeah.
as the 16th.
I did check my personal and professional calendars. I'm available. I'm only away the weekend of Easter. I'm flying down to North Carolina, but I'm not confident, so I'll be here those 3
Great.
weeks.
Great,
So
thank
I'm
you.
all set, yeah.
I normally,
And one last comment, just because I used to do it and it's more environmentally friendly, but I don't need paper copies of all these things that ultimately go in the trash, and it's a lot of paper. Do we want to consider just doing everything digitally? They can make a PDF, they can give us a link, we can see all the information, we don't need paper sent. It just, I mean, I know it's old school, it's nice to have it on your desk, but it's such a waste.
It's a waste, but like for me, if I'm doing something like this, I would end up printing it myself, because I have a hard time
Well, no, this is
going
going to be
through a
a
proposal online.
150-page document.
That's all right.
I
Yeah.
understand, Larry, that's my point. I have a hard time going through a document like that. I'm somebody who, I'm a numbers person, so I sometimes have a hard time going through dense documents. I have to highlight stuff, I've got to put sticky notes, I got to make notes. It's hard for me to do that online. So I would prefer
Me too.
a paper copy of the 3 final proposals. Oh,
I mean,
actually,
we
it's
can
all of
reduce
them.
the number of copies if we want, that's
yeah,
fine, but I know
email
some people.
me if you do not want a hard copy. I will also tell you that I do a hobby called junk journaling, and I reused the OPM ones and made junk journals. So,
Yeah.
Reuse.
So, all right, so only if we don't want a hard copy, we email you.
right, if you do not.
Otherwise, you will get us hard
email me.
copies. Okay.
Exactly.
You have time for a hobby?
I have time for a hobby. I need to have hobbies because you need to have releases, yes.
I thought this was your hobby.
No. All right, that was great. Steve, thank you so much. In our packets, we have 2 amendments for Vertex. The first one is at the beginning of your packet, right? It was right after the agenda.
The second one got entered twice, so it's not 3 amendments. One is at the very end, but there's only 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, the last one is number 2, which is repeated, so you can, at the
Right.
end of the packet, so you don't need to address that one.
right. And the first one is actually for Vertex's, and in particular Steve's support through the design selection phase. And so you can see in this that our original contract amount with him was $91,594. This amendment proposes an additional $11,122. So the total contract to date would be $102,716. And this is to provide OPM services for designer selection process from preparation of RFQ through award of a designer contract for the design through bid phases as requested by the owner and town council. And it's a time and management? Materials, not to exceed $11,112 at 2026
That's a
hourly
different
rates.
dollar amount, by $10.
It is, you're
Yeah.
right.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, it's 11,122 in the chart, but
Yeah,
11,112 in the paragraph.
so the 122 is, I think, the correct amount, because that totals out, so.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
And so time not to exceed, so if for some reason this goes brilliantly smoothly, then he won't charge us, he'll only charge us the time he spends. But you
Yeah,
can
I'm
see,
tracking my time on the designer selection.
and you can see he's already spent time without us even voting this as he prepared the RFQ that has already gone to legal counsel.
Can we just clarify that we have the money to $11,000?
We do.
So
We
Well-
have that left in the original article?
Talking about that, we had, and I'm ready for this one. We had 15,000, as of February, because we just sent that VIP in today, I believe. We had $15,992 left in the contingency. But we also, when we stopped context from any of the meeting support, they had not expended all of their amendment number 12, so there's another $5,212 left in that amendment 12. So there's $21,204 left before my two amendments.
Thank you.
Okay.
any questions about this?
Would you like a motion?
I would.
I would move that we would approve the amendment of $11,122 to Vertex.
Second.
Okay, so Mac moved and Maria seconded.
Nope,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Sorry, I'm looking at you and I said her name, sorry. And it's amendment number 1, and so I'm going to take a roll call vote. Alan?
Aye.
Maria?
Neil and I.
Sarah?
Aye.
Mac?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And Mary, aye. Okay, so that's approved. So then if you turn the page, amendment number 2 brings in an additional $5,000. And this is for extended services through the feasibility conceptual site selection phase from the end of February through March of special town meeting. As you'll recall, when we delayed town meeting, we actually did an amendment for context because they had more work to do. But we never did an amendment for Vertex because Steve still had money in his line. And so he was working through, but through our special town meeting and the special town election process, he has estimated an amount of not to exceed $5,000.
I don't think it's going to get that high, Mary. We were over in February by $698. So then it's just my time from March 1st to the 17th, which is not a lot, but I just put 5,000 down because it's sort of a round number.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to approve the Vertex Amendment Number 2, not to exceed $5,000.
Can I discuss?
Yes,
now?
absolutely.
Well, no, second first.
I'll
Now
take
you
a
go.
second first, so.
A second.
Okay, so Mac moved, Maria seconded, discussion.
I agree that we need to do this. However, best practice would be to have this done before the services are executed. So in the future, can we have notice of the time spent being near completion before we're asked to spend money on the project? So we can give approval prior to this?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Steve was trying to be, to not charge us if he didn't need to, but I think, Steve, the committee would rather have the notice ahead of time so that it's more of a proactive approval than reactive approval.
Well, I guess, on the previous amendment, that means I wouldn't have started any of the
Yeah,
That's true
queue
too.
work, and
That's
that would not have worked for the schedule, so, I mean,
yeah,
I
I mean,
understand what you're saying, it's like doing, contractors doing change orders work before they get it approved, but
Exactly.
yeah.
I'll try my best, but.
And I will say that Steve had these ready for us. We could have looked at them Monday at the special town meeting, the meeting before special town meeting. And I did not want to do that in a non-televised meeting because I wanted to be transparent with the community. So we held it at least those 3 days. Okay, any other questions, comments? Then I'm going to take a roll call vote. Alan?
Aye.
Maria?
Neil and I.
Sarah?
Aye.
Mac?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And Brolin, aye. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
both of those amendments. Then we have minutes from February 26th, and the March 9th ones I put on the table for everyone. I emailed it earlier today, and I put it on the table for you.
No, it's
So
very
let's
extensive,
start
too.
with the February 26th.
I think you should make the motion.
I make a motion that we approve those minutes as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
I really felt like he should make the motion when he told me
Yeah.
he had no changes.
Alan moved and Maria seconded. Any discussion, any other folks with edits, comments?
If Alan doesn't have an edit, there's a pretty
Okay.
good chance no one else does.
I'm going to take a roll call vote. Alan?
Aye.
Maria?
Neil and I.
Sarah?
Aye.
Mac?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And Brolin, aye. Okay, March 9th did need a correction. I apologize. I feel like I might need to be committed.
Yes, right, that's what it looked like.
So I'll make the committee discussed. Any other comments there?
Nope.
I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of March 9th as amended.
Second.
Okay, so Alan moved, Maria seconded. I'll roll call vote. Alan?
Aye.
Maria?
Neil and I.
Sarah?
Aye.
Mac?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And Brolin, aye. Thank you.
Mary, question.
Yes.
Was this amended, I printed what you emailed us earlier.
Yes.
Is there an amendment to this?
Yes, it says the committed, and it should say the
I
committee.
think that was a Freudian slip.
I know, I think you were
I
like,
think it was.
Thank you, I got it.
Yeah.
I'll turn
I think
this
at that point on Monday night, we were all feeling like, yeah,
We need to be
we need to be committed.
Exactly. Okay, so
Thanks.
right now, our next meeting dates are March 26th and April 9th. And now we added April 16th, so we're gonna have that on our calendars. Any updates folks wanna give?
Yes. I have a couple.
Okay.
I want to acknowledge that our fire chief, Chief Kivlin, recently graduated. I'm probably going to get the name of this wrong, but it's the Fire Command Officer Academy over at Stowe. He spent the fall, winter, and part of the spring with, how many other?
43 of us, actually.
So like 42 chiefs, 1 deputy, and they went through a rigorous activity, and it wasn't just the technical aspects of firefighting, it was command level. So a lot of it was budgeting, strategic thinking, how do you command of fire, operations, and, several of us went to his graduation, which he didn't even want his family to go. I found out about it and we went, and it was extraordinary to see all these gentlemen and ladies there in their blues with all their stripes, and I'm very proud of them. I know you are as well. He's turning red because I'm mentioning this, but this is a huge thing, and he wanted to go to this. I wanted him to go to this. The town was very supportive, and it's a big commitment, and he did a terrific job, and we're very proud of him.
All right.
No, thank you.
Congratulations and thank you.
No problem, thank you. It was one of those bucket list courses, if you will, so now that I was in a position where I could take it, it's through the Mass Fire Academy in conjunction with UMass Boston, through the Collins Center of Government, and it was, I'm just very appreciative that I was allowed to go, so thank you.
And following on to that, as you know, we had a structure fire here in Boxborough Tuesday morning. We were in our weekly ops meeting in my office, and so the chiefs were there, the DPW director was there, Alec, myself, Rajon, and the alarm started going off at 9:30, and chief made a quick exit. Shortly after that, the police chief went, because it was kind of one of those all hands on deck type of operations. I turned my radio on and listened to the operations as it was going on, as this fire consumed the house up on Old Orchard Lane, and it was quite the event. I believe there were 14. I believe there were 14 departments involved, and throughout all of it, I could hear chief on the radio as command and directing in all these other resources, and we could see and hear the apparatus going up and down Middle Road. I know they closed off Picnic. And, it was, the stuff that we heard Chief present to the community and to this committee on several weeks ago about apparatus, I heard that in action. And as I heard one of the tenders go down to Lyons Pond and his team down there getting the water drawn, refilling these tankers, sending up 3,000 gallons at a time, and him commanding, okay, that new apparatus coming in from Berlin, park it over, off a Picnic. Okay, this one I need you here. And then he called in for is it called the rehab?
No, state rehab, yes.
The rehab truck from Stowe at the academy, where they brought in, an air-conditioned, huge thing for firefighters from Boxborough and these other communities to go in, cool off, get some Gatorade, and get ready to go back and fight this blaze again. It was impressive listening to Chief on the radio, the other assets that he was commanding, and his team, which included Boxborough firefighters, EMTs, and those from 13 other communities, all in concert doing their job and saving lives and getting 2 people out of there to safety. It was impressive, and I really was, as someone who made their career previous to this in aviation on radios commanding troops, what I heard was top-level professionalism, and I was very proud to have Chief Giveland on our team.
Nice job.
Thanks.
And I have to say, as a resident, that fire is, it's not a quarter mile from my house, right? And the number of trucks going up and down the street, my phone was blowing up when I came out of PT. They're like, oh my God, there's Harvard's here and this is here. But there was no chaos on Picnic Street at all. There was horses up, and the trucks were going up and down the street, and there was no sirens. It was silent. I got back to Picnic Street, and if I'd not known that all this apparatus was going up and down the street, I would not have known there was a fire. It is very close to my house, so I was pretty impressed with the way that whole operation took place. And then when they left quietly and safely up the street, and it was great. From that perspective as a resident.
We are very fortunate. Our people train regularly, and they train to be professionals, and their professionalism really shone through on Tuesday. And then we're just very fortunate to have the mutual aid partners that we have, because again, that professionalism from them coming in to assist us, it honestly just makes my job that much easier when I have that quality of people to work with when we have an event like that. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm guessing it makes your job even more difficult in many ways
I almost
coordinate.
wonder why you need me if we have such great people around me. They're just so good, so.
Great
it's-
people need a great
Well,
leader.
they're-
To coordinate 14 fire departments on one
Yeah.
project is
That's something.
significant, so
Yeah.
Well,
congratulations.
I'll tell you, the other local chiefs, command staff it's myself and the captain just had to be, he had to be pressed into interior operations. So for a little bit, I was alone by myself outside, and just fortunate that the area chiefs, we all know that when something like this is happening, that they come in and it's very, putting them into roles that allow me to stay in a spot where we can coordinate those
Yeah.
things, because I have great people in positions that can make sure that the right things are happening at the right time. So,
Yeah.
again, very fortunate that we have the team, not only here in Boxborough, but also surrounding us, that can come out and help us with this.
Yeah.
I hope people will remember this next Tuesday, that it's important.
That's right.
It could happen to any of us.
Right, I
And-
mean,
and
certainly that
we need
family
you.
wasn't expecting that, and,
It's one of those things that we say over and over again. You don't, yes, it's expensive, but when you need it, you can't think about how expensive it is. And you may, if you're lucky, you never need it.
right,
But there may be somebody who does, right?
Right.
And this is,
The
this
security
is the
is
second
worth it.
fire in
Right.
7 years? or-
Yeah.
Or 6 years?
5.
5 years? I'm sorry, Becky knows,
Well,
because she was the advocate.
Second,
I would
big
say-
structure fire.
I
Yeah,
would
right,
say-
major structure
yeah,
fire.
Multiple alarm fire.
No, I understand, but I'm talking
yeah.
about bigger
Yes.
kind of structural fires that have left people without homes.
Oh, yeah.
right,
Right?
right.
And again, it's so expensive, but when you need it, it's good to know that you guys are there, and it was so well handled.
I'm just, for the time of day it was, just thankful that it was at, it was mid-morning, people were out and about, it was seen. I'm just thankful that it was not at a time where people would have been in their bedrooms asleep. I'm just happy that everyone was able to get out of the house.
Yes.
No one had to go to the hospital, everyone was safe. That
Very
to me is, that no firefighters went to the hospital, no residents went to the hospital, that's the biggest win of the day right there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
One thing I said to Chief when he came back to my office Tuesday night to debrief, I said, I'm very sad that family lost their home. Even though it didn't burn to the ground, it's a complete loss. I
Yeah.
mean, what wasn't burned is smoke damage and beyond reconstruction. But I said to Chief, it's unfortunate that happened, but that it did, I'm glad it happened after the successful votes on Monday night, because what that told me is the success Monday night was based on 15 years of long work, nearly 2 years of really hard, intense work, engineering, data, analysis, public outreach, and the work that you as a committee did, and the people in the community, the outreach that was done. It was a data-driven success on Monday night's vote, not an emotional response. And that says what you did was really, really important, and the community believed in the work you did, and it paid off.
I agree with that, but I felt so happy that we came to that result Monday night, so that hopefully on Tuesday they felt validated. Like, definitely we felt validated then, but like, this is something we need. It's not that it's, something we want, and you hope you never need it.
Right.
But when you do, you want that top-notch service that you all provide for us.
Yeah.
Monday morning, I said to Chief, by tomorrow this time, you're either gonna have a really happy department, or you're gonna be in the midst of losing more firefighters, because in the year
Yeah.
prior, he lost 4.
Right.
And I think that would have escalated in the coming year. And hopefully people believe now that the community believes in their need and believes in them, and you'll start retaining more now, because you got great people and we want to retain them. And I think that will
Yeah.
make the difference in retention
Yeah.
for your great people.
Morale's definitely, after Monday night, morale's definitely improved. And then, when you have, fires are terrible, regardless, this was a significant fire, and I feel as though, and we feel as though we were on the winning side of that fire, if you will. No
Yeah.
civilian injuries, it wasn't a total loss, they were able to salvage and get some of their belongings out of it. So, everything that we've talked about and the needs for the fire services amongst, it seemed validated on Tuesday. So, so being able to go out and show that we can do what we claim to do,
Yeah.
and then to have the win that we had Monday night really is, it's really improved morale right now, so
good,
thankful for that.
Well, they're part of the team too,
Right.
all the tours and all the support, public outreach, all of it,
So
so.
that's all of my updates.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, with that,
Public outreach?
I forgot, public input, please. If in the room, step up to the mic. Online, please raise your virtual hand or turn on your camera. Becky?
So I want to, first of all, thank you all for all you did Monday night. It was awesome. And I want to say, I'm sure the families of the firefighters and the chief were very happy they all came home Tuesday night, safe. And
Yes.
I know sitting at home, when there's a big fire going on, you know what's going on and you don't know, because they can't call you and say, oh, I'm fine, honey. It's really nice when they can get home. But I also want to call out the Regency, because once again, the Regency has stepped up for Foxborough in a big way. They stepped up after the fire for the apartment building. Oh, it's okay. They know what I'm saying. The Regency stepped up for the fire after the in the apartment building. People were there for months. I mean, but once again, they stepped right up, and they're a really good neighbor and
That's
a
great.
good partner.
Thank you for sharing that, yeah.
I don't see any hands online.
Okay.
Oh, wait, Barbara just raised her hand. Okay.
Okay, you should be able to unmute, Barbara. Yep.
Okay, thank you. First, congratulations with the vote, and second, big thank you to the chief and the fire department for that terrible fire. So we're all very grateful. Whoops, sorry.
That's Siri adding her
Okay.
thank you.
Just a quick question. Are you going to be able to put anything in your request about green building experience and add that to some of your interview questions? Maybe what some of the challenges are for the building green for a fire station and how to work around that?
We can definitely add it as a question. Steve, is that a component you have in the, scoring of the different applicants?
Well, I have it in the RFQ that sustainability is something that we want them to be mindful of, geothermal and PV photovoltaics. So it's in the RFQ so that they know that is a component of this project.
Great.
And
So,
will you be able to, talk with them about their experience and?
yes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
They usually put something into their proposal, but even if they don't, when we have the interviews, we can make that a specific
Thank you.
question.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Yep, thanks, Barbara.
That's it.
All right, then I would take a motion.
Move to adjourn?
Second?
Roll call vote. Alan,
Aye.
Neil and I.
Sarah,
Aye.
Mac,
Aye.
Larry,
All right.
and Brolin, aye. And for the record, I'll state that it's 8:28. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Almost the exact.